Say hi, girl. Hi. Hey, girl. Hey. Hi. Hey. Tomato. Tomato. Eat my beautiful rising. Hannah. Shalom. Shalom. Don, what's good, sis? Vinette. Hey, girl. Hey. Where is my... Let me use this one. All right, beautiful people. Happy Wednesday. It is March the 1st, 2023. Day 346 of year 4 of reading through books, laws, and prophets. And of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1,365. Today we're picking back up with chapter 10 of Romance of the Red Star, as well as the same chapter is chapter 11 in Big Blue, which begins on page 76, and the Romance of the Red Star, page 69. Then we're going to hop on over and read a little bit more of the Essene Gospel of Peace on page 105. All right, Father, we thank you for teeth. Yes, it does so many things. Not only does it give shape to our face, but it helps us to chew our food so we don't choke to death. And it helps us also to speak and sound clear and fluent. Yeah, we can enunciate our words with the help of our teeth, right? And also the tongue. We ain't talking about the tongue today. Just the teeth. So make sure you take care of them, right? Do your regular dental checkups. Make sure you floss. Like, take good care of them. They'll take good care to you because they do add a certain beauty to your face as well. All right, beautiful people. Auntie. Great rising, Jamia. Hey, sis. Shalom, shalom. Also, everybody else here already hanging out in the background. Top of the day to you. Facebook and YouTube. Oh, I forgot. I ain't gotta do that. I just use that book downstairs. All right, beautiful people, so let's get going. Chapter 10. Page 69. The council of Horeb being in session, God ascended to the throne, and the light of Jehovah fell upon him, so that he was well night obscure. So he was well, maybe it's well nigh, but it says night. The council of Horeb being in session, God ascended the throne, and the light of Jehovah fell upon him, so that he was well night obscured from sight. And the voice of Jehovah spake, saying, As by my presence and of my own self I made each self, and gave thereto power of words. I didn't even know we were going to be talking about the power of words. I just talked about the teeth, right? Look. As by my presence and mine own self I made each self, and gave thereto power of words, so do I in light manifest my words to my Etherian host. As to the lords of earth, ye have provided Ashars, and above them Asaphs, and betwixt all my kingdoms allotted messengers. So shall ye provide for the barbarians, familiar spirits, who shall be subject to the order of the Ashars and their lords. I create all men, whether Ehenes or barbarians, and your labor shall not be alone with my chosen, whom it is easy to save, but with those also who know me not, and know not my worlds. For besides those destroyed by the flood, behold, the earth is still covered over with men, women, and children. In the time of so listen to this. For besides those destroyed by the flood, behold, the earth is still covered over with men, women, and children. right? So we know that the sinking, the flooding, it was caused by Pan, right? But the earth was still full of people, just sunk the ones in Pan. Everybody else experienced the flood, but the righteous ones were saved. And after the flood subsided, when the flood subsided, the ships were already scattered to the four corners of the earth, and they just repopulated everywhere. So it was still a multitude of people still living, not just the small little family of Noah. Mom, shalom. Just me, blessings. Laban, blessings. I created all men, whether Ehenes or barbarians, and your labor shall be not alone with my chosen, whom it is easy to save, but with those also who know me not, and know not my worlds. For besides those destroyed by the flood, behold, the earth is still covered over with men, women, and children. In the time of Af, ye received volunteers from Osi and Ethera. Give them this matter in hand. This was done, and they were divided up into groups, and the Corporans, having already been numbered by the angels of heaven, the Etherians were distributed accordingly. And these again selected and apportioned familiar spirits to abide with the barbarians. And these familiar spirits were the fathers and mothers and friends who had recently died and still sojourned in the first resurrection. So the officers provided places on earth for these spirits and persuaded them to reappear before mortals in order to prove continued life. Jehovah hath said, provide ye the way, but cause the familiars to do the labor, but do not make a familiar of the spirit of a young man or a woman, lest they become fetals. Let me read that again. Jehovah hath said, provide ye the way, but cause the familiars to do the labor, but do not make a familiar of the spirit of a young man or woman, lest they become fetals. So it came to pass that new departments of heaven and earth was opened during the absence of Neph. At the end of 1 year, Neph returned from the Huatam colony, bringing with him 5 million volunteers, being of the third resurrection, and it being known in Horeb when he would return, a great concourse of angels gathered to receive him in honor and to welcome the volunteers. So that when God's Etherian star descended, the vice god, Eloah, proclaimed a recreation of 10 days, which was to follow immediately after God should ascend the throne. And whilst the Senars were singing, the ships of Neph alighted, and the marshals and hosts of honor proceeded to the places and received God, who at once ascended to the throne and saluted Eloah, son of Jehovah, by saying, so remember, Eloah was the one who was in charge of Pan before they sunk it. By thy will and power, O Jehovah, thy son rejoiceth. Eloah said, welcome, God of earth. And he saluted with the sign of Jehovah's name, and was answered in like manner. Without more ceremony, he took off the triangle of the gods and placed it on Neph's neck, saying, in Jehovah's name, receive thou the gift of the ancient gods. God said, let the marshals proclaim 10 days of recreation, whilst we account to our loves how we found matters in Huatam, and of the power of Jehovah manifested. Chapter 11. Page 70. The voice of Jehovah spake through God, saying, because the new heaven is established, and because the old hath been raised up, let signs be manifested whereby men and angels in after times may know what hath happened. For men and angels may forget the flood and the purging of earth. Bethink ye, O gods and goddesses, what shall be done? Eloah spake in behalf of the council, saying, what shall be done, O Jehovah? Jehovah said, in Cosmon, men and angels shall ask for proofs. That's us. We ask them for proof of everything. Eloah spake in behalf of the council, saying, what shall be done, O Jehovah? Jehovah said, in Cosmon, men and angels shall ask for proofs. One will say, how is it possible to relate the words spoken in the olden time? Another will say, how can it be proven that the old heaven was taken away? Hear therefore the words of your Creator. And when one saith, behold, In those days, few men had the gift of words and speech. Who would have known this today? Because even what I'm in my adoration with, I did not read ahead. This is cool. Hear therefore the words of your Creator. And when one saith, behold, in those days few men had the gift of words and speech, answer ye him, saying, even so was it in heaven. And because they had not words, they could not be made to understand. And another shall say, the Creator ruleth in large matters, but not in the small. And another shall say, because the angels come in cosmon, so could they in the olden time. And ye shall answer them, saying, who knoweth the plan for an earthquake, whether it be small or large, before Jehovah? Is he not ever present? And do not certain conditions bring certain results? And they will answer, yea. Say ye, give then a name to the highest cause beyond all research, and they will say, by the ancients called Jehovah. And they shall see that they have entangled themselves in a net. For if the condition of ignorance on earth begot ignorance in heaven, how could the light of heaven come afterward to earth, save from above? Since then the light of heaven came from above, who should invent the wisdom of a flood to come upon the speech of nations? Give them therefore words in heaven and words on earth, which are matters of this nature, and make the sounds thereof sacred, so that it shall be proven in Japheth, Shem, Ham, and Gautama, and in the heavens above. And a lot of time when we hear Shem, Ham, and Japheth, we never hear Gautama. They always scrub the Americas from the Holy Bible, right? They always scrub us. Okay. Give them, therefore, words in heaven and words on earth, which are matters of this nature, and make the sounds thereof sacred, so that it shall be proven in Japheth, Shem, Ham, and Gautama, and in the heavens thereof. God said, thou art all wisdom, O Jehovah. Now have I a place for the new volunteers to come from Ethera. For this shall be their matter and business with the familiars who dwell with the barbarians. So accordingly, they were allotted, and they were enjoined to sing to mortals the song of the flood, and they thus established its history to endure forever on the earth. Oh, yeah. Let me read one more chapter. Chapter 12. Bonjour, shalom, avia, shalom, shalom. Yes, Vinette. I brought it down because I need to fill it up. I normally keep it on my nightstand. Y'all, these bottles are the bomb, right? Ice stays in these jokers for days on end. It has truly been worthy of the name, the coldest water bottle. It uses like that same type of material that airplanes are made of, right? And they even have now, they got the coldest water bottles. They got them in all different sizes. You can even get them in gallon sizes, right? They even have them where you can put coffee in them. They're a little bit smaller. I'm going to show you. Not that y'all care, but I'm going to show you anyway, because now that we're talking about it. And this is not a plug for them. They don't pay me for this. I just like to share good stuff with y'all. It's still the coldest water, but this is made for coffee. And I said, you could use it in these, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend you do that, because if you sip it through the straw, you might get too much of the hot stuff at one time. It's gonna burn your mouth up, right? But this is the best water bottle. When I say everybody in my house has one, everybody in my house has one. Even the little Murphys, they say, can you get us one of those? All for them. And they asked me for like 2 weeks straight. I'm like, y'all got a little, look. There, all of them got theirs upstairs. Yeah. So everybody fills up their water bottle at night. They use it throughout the day, but at night they fill it up with ice and water, and they keep it on their nightstands and stuff, like me and James do. So that way they ain't got to get up in the middle of the night to go get water and stuff. But anyway, we ain't gonna read the next chapter because my alarm done went off. But well, Because it only says I've been right because we started 15 minutes late. I've only been live for like 15 minutes. So, the snake juice tastes bad. You didn't, how you mix it, yo? It shouldn't have a taste. You must not have mixed it in enough water. Did you mix it in a bottle of water? Did you put a whole pack in a bottle of water? How much water? You must not have put enough water. You must not have put enough water in it. You used a bottled water, like a 16-ounce bottle of water for one pack. Y'all not mixing it right. Everybody that say that, because that's what I did at first. Because you get these little packets, give me a bottle of water, and you shake it up. It's nothing but a mouthful of salt. It's like you rinsing your mouth out after you done lost a tooth. That ain't good for nothing but to sink. Spit it out. You haven't put enough water in it. I told you I use a picture. And so if you, you know how when you drink Gatorade or any kind of sports drink, it's sweet, but it's like a little salty. It's like that, but without the sweetness. It's just, you can, like, I really don't taste it all. Because at first, Jeremiah was like, oh my God, this is disgusting. I said, what I tell you? I said, you're not following directions. I said, you cannot mix it in a bottle of water. Don't even try to mix it in your thing. I said, you need to mix it in a bigger picture. Just put in the 30, I put just a little in a 30-ounce bottle. You say just a little? I don't know, y'all. I don't know what y'all doing with y'all measurements. I'm surprised you could taste it at all. You put just a little in a 30-ounce bottle of water, Don? I don't know. I don't know, y'all. Maybe I should come over here and taste mine that I mix up. Even Jeremiah, I buy him like 4 boxes at a time. He literally has already gone through 2 of my boxes because he works out literally every day. And he even uses it now instead of like spring water. He even puts it in his smoothie. Like, you got to mix it right. You should not be able to taste the salt like that for real. Like, you really shouldn't. So, but I mean, it's other ones out there. You don't necessarily have to use that. But you could try a mixer bottle. I would still say the mixer, unless it's almost like a gallon mixer bottle. Yeah, but if you're using anything smaller than that, like if you're using a water bottle, if you divide the packet up into 4s, I'd say maybe use 1/4 of that packet in a water bottle, a 16-ounce water bottle. But yeah. But there's other ones out there. Y'all ain't got to use that one. I like that one. I found the perfect mixture of that and water. So, but all right, y'all. We just gonna pause. We gonna read the next chapter. We'll just go over and spend a little bit more time in the Scenes Gospel of Peace. Even though we started a few minutes late today, we still just gonna pause right here with this, the end of chapter 11. All right, so we definitely gonna read all of the fragments from the Dead Sea Scrolls, but then we get into the Teacher of Righteousness. Shucks, we may even get to read the fragments, a little bit from the fragments of the Gospel of John, and we might read all of that because that's only like 3 pages. All right, so let's get started. A blender bottle. It could work. You just gotta try the different measurements with it, y'all. If y'all don't like it, try something else. That's just one I've come to like, and I found a perfect mixture, and it works. It works. All right, y'all. Page 105. Fragments identical with the Dead Sea Scrolls. Quote, and Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. End quote. That's the scene Genesis chapter 5, verse 24. And this particular section right here is from the manual of discipline of the Dead Sea Scrolls. The law was planted in the garden of brotherhood to enlighten the heart of man and to make straight before him all the ways of true righteousness and humble spirit and even temper a freely compassionate nature, an eternal goodness and understanding and insight, and mighty wisdom which believe in all God's works, and a confident trust in his many blessings, and a spirit of knowledge in all things of the great order, loyal feelings toward all the children of truth, a radiant purity which loathes everything impure, a discretion regarding all the hidden things of truth and secrets of inner knowledge. And that's the end of that little fragment. The next fragment comes from the book of Hymns, chapter 7 of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Thou hast made it known unto me, thy deep, mysterious things. All things exist by thee, and there is none beside thee. By thy law thou hast directed my heart, that I set my steps straight forward upon right paths, and walk where thy presence is. The next little fragment is from the Manual of Discipline of the Dead Sea Scrolls. The law was planted to reward the children of light with healing and abundant peace, with long life, with fruitful seed of everlasting blessings, with eternal joy in immortality of eternal life. The next fragment comes from the Thanksgiving Psalms of the Dead Sea Scrolls on page 106. Uncle JB, shalom. I thank thee, Heavenly Father, because thou hast put me at a source of running streams, at a living spring in a land of drought, watering an eternal garden of wonders, the tree of life, mystery of mysteries, growing everlasting branches for eternal planting, to sink their roots into a stream of life from an eternal source. And thou, Heavenly Father, protect their fruits with the angels of the day and of the night, and with flames of eternal light burning every way. That's beautiful. The next fragment comes from the Thanksgiving of Psalms of the Dead Sea Scrolls on page 107. I am grateful, Heavenly Father, and thou hast raised me to an eternal height, and I walk in the wonders of the plain. Thou gavest me guidance to reach thine eternal company from the depths of the earth. Thou hast purified my body to join the army of the angels of the earth, and my spirit to reach the congregation of the heavenly angels. Thou gavest man eternity to praise at dawn and dusk thy works and wonders in joyful song. The next fragment comes from the Thanksgiving Psalms of the Dead Sea Scrolls as well. I will praise thy works with songs of thanksgiving continually, from period to period, in thy circuits of the day, and in its fixed order, with the coming of light from its source, and at the turn of evening, and the outgoing of light, at the outgoing of darkness, and the coming in of day, continually, in all the generations of time. The next section is from the Manual of Discipline of the Dead Sea Scrolls. May he bless thee with every good. May he keep thee from all evil, and illuminate thy heart with the knowledge of life, and favor thee with eternal wisdom. And may he give his sevenfold blessings upon thee to everlasting peace. The next little fragment is from the Manual of Discipline of the Dead Sea Scrolls as well. With the coming of day, I embrace the mother. With the coming of night, I join my father. And with the outgoing of the evening and the morning, I will breathe their law, and I will not interrupt these communions until the end of time. The next section is also from the Manual of Discipline of the Dead Sea Scrolls. He assigned to man 2 spirits with which he should walk. They are the spirits of truth and of falsehood. Truth born out of the spring of light, falsehood from the well of darkness. The dominion of all the children of truth is in the hands of the angel of light, so that they should walk in the ways of light. The spirit of truth and falsehood struggle within the heart of man, behaving with wisdom and folly, and according as man inherits truth, so will he avoid darkness. That's good. Make sure you're all inheriting truth. It's the light of our life. Let me just read this over. That's good. He assigned to man 2 spirits with which he should walk. They are the spirits of truth and of falsehood. Truth born out of the spring of light, falsehood from the well of darkness. The dominion of all the children of truth is in the hands of the angel of light, so that they should walk in the ways of light. The spirit of truth and falsehood struggle within the heart of man, behaving with wisdom and folly. And according as a man inherits truth, so will he avoid darkness. Blessings on all that have cast their lot with the law, that walk truthfully in all their ways. May the law bless them with all good and keep them from all evil, and illumine their hearts with insight into the things of life, and grace them with knowledge of things eternal. And the last fragment is from the book of hymns of the Dead Sea Scrolls. I have reached the inner vision, and through thy spirit in me, I have heard thy wondrous secret. Through thy mystic insight, thou hast caused a spring of knowledge to well up within me, a fountain of power, pouring forth living waters, a flood of love and of all embracing wisdom, like the splendor of eternal light. And that is the end of the fragments from the Dead Sea Scrolls. The next section is from the Essene book of the Teacher of Righteousness. I'm on page 111. This was good. I remember the first time I heard this, I heard Malachi read through this. This was good. And the master took himself to the banks of a stream where the people were gathered, those who did hunger after his words. Hold on, let me read that again. And the master took himself to the banks of a stream where the people were gathered, those who did hunger after his words. And he blessed them and asked them whereof they were troubled. And one did speak, Master, tell us, what are those things we should hold of high value, and what are those things we should despise? And the master answered, saying, all the ills which men suffer are caused by the things without us. No. Go talk to your dad. But you can if you like. If you want to go to the warehouse, see, you asking about work, but you don't want to do like the little small things. Go up to talk to your dad, because we could use some cleaning out in the warehouse. And the master answered, saying, all the ills which men suffer are caused by those things without us, for what is within can never make us suffer. A child dies, a fortune is lost, house and fields burn, and all men are helpless, and they cry out, what shall I do now? What shall now befall me? Will this thing come to pass? All these are the words of those who grieve and rejoice over events which do befall them, events which are not of their doing. But if we do mourn over that which is not in our power, we are as little children who weeps when the sun leaves the sky. Boy. He just slightly called them immature. Let me read that again. This is just good. Listen. And the master answered, saying, all the ills which men suffer are caused by those things without us, for what is within us can never make us suffer. A child dies, a fortune is lost, house and fields burn, and all men are helpless, and they cry out, what shall we do now? What shall now befall me? Will this thing come to pass? All these are the words of those who grieve and rejoice over events which do befall them, events which are not of their doing. But if we do mourn over that which is not in our power, we are as the little children who weeps when the sun leaves the sky. It was said of old, thou shalt not covet anything that is thy neighbor's. And now I say unto thee, thou shalt not desire anything which is not in thy power, for only that which is within thee doth both belong to thee, and that which is without thee doth belong to another. In this doth happiness lie, to know what is thine and what is not thine. I like that in a different color. Shalom. Just me. Have a wonderful day at work. Whistle while you work. That's good. Y'all having a conversation over here. I agree with what they said to Tabitha. Let me read it out loud just in case people on Facebook don't know what in the world we're talking about. Okay. So Tabitha said, if the Bible Genesis is false, how can I trust the story of Enoch? The Enoch story is a good read, but I am cautious with Osiris' doctrines. Jamil responded, I hear you, Tabitha. Weigh the words. If it feels off to you, don't hearken to it. Then Tabitha said, that's a fact, Jamil, but some of the books have a mixture of truth and fiction, so blended together. Jamil said, exactly. Also remember, Enoch was only mentioned in Genesis briefly. He doesn't even have a full story. And Brian said, eat the fruit, spit out the seeds. Tabitha said he's also mentioned in the New Testament as a reference, I think in Hebrew. Yeah, you're right. I agree with them. Eat the meat, spit out the seeds. And I get what you're saying, but when you read through the book of Enoch and begin to test some of its principles, I would say specifically like the luminaries chapters, right? Especially like chapters 72 through 82. I know I love the book of Enoch. I went searching for him when I realized that they talked about him in two brief moments in scripture, one in the Old Testament and that small little reference in the New. I'm like, well, where's Enoch? He walked so close with the Father that he took him because he was good. What was he doing with his life? And it led me on a search looking for Enoch until I found the book of Enoch. You have the, it's a couple different versions of the book of Enoch. They're pretty similar. And I got all three. I forget the name of them, but they found in different places. But like Jamil said, test it, right? Eat the fruit, spit out the seeds, right? Although that saying now, eat the fruit, spit out the seeds. Some seeds you should actually chew and eat, like grape seeds, especially if you have a sickness going on in your body, because there's actual healing in the seeds. But we ain't gonna get into that. Y'all ever heard about the grape cure? Y'all should check into that. It's a very little thin pamphlet that has revived the life of many sick people with cancer, all different types of diseases. The seed, the flesh of the grape, as well as the seed, restored their body. All right. But anyway, I would say, test it, right? Some things you may not believe when you're younger, you can't quite understand, but as you grow, your understanding develops, and certain things, certain beliefs that you had before, you will no longer hold tight to them because they adjust. Just like children grow, and when they're younger, they can't do things or they don't understand, but when they get a little bit older and they can understand a bigger picture and put all the pieces together, it's like, oh, right? It's kind of like that. But there's definitely a lot of truth, but I do agree that there's a lot of truth and false mixed together throughout the Bible, right? So, and if it's throughout the Bible, we got to test all things, because it's the mixture is not just there, it's everywhere, right? So you just, like Fritz said, you just got to make adjustments, right? You have to test all things, right? You should be diligent. He absolutely does. He uses the grape diet for his clients, and it worked. From what I've seen, it works wonders. Listen, here, I ain't gonna say I'm struggling with it, but I'm looking a little bit more into it, right? Because I've taken a Nazarite vow, and a part of the Nazarite vow is that you shouldn't eat any part of the grape, right? The juicy part or the seed, the dry part, or anything, or at least according to the Bible. But now that I know that it's mixed and chock full of shenanigans, I'm even looking again at the Nazarite vow. Now, I agree with the portion of it, not to eat flesh and all that stuff, but I'm wondering if that was tampered with, because I don't see how eating the grape would bring any kind of harm to your body unless you allow it to ferment. and maybe it was tampered with. Don't quote me. If y'all taking it, don't just like stop your vow or whatever. I'm still searching into it before I adjust my vow to the truth that I understand. So I'm wondering if those who wrote out the vow or rewrote the vow out based on their current understanding of the time, if they didn't quite know, maybe they just made it all off limits. Like, don't drink the fermented and don't drink the unfermented. Just avoid anything from the grapevine, period. Whether it's the flesh or the fruit, the seed, if you dry it out, make it a raisin or whatever, or if you ferment it, just stay away from the grapevine altogether. But now that I'm looking more into it and I got the grape cure upstairs and I've been going through this, I'm like, this really brings a rift in my understanding about this Nazarite vow now, because it said don't touch the grapevine, but the grape is actually full of health and healing. I'm just, it's interesting. Hold on, let me go back. Hold on, let me go up. I missed something. Greetings, first time. That doesn't sound right. That does not sound right. This is a feast dedicated to grapes. The Nazarite vow, Jamil? Right, yeah. Yeshua fed the people grapes, which is why I've been conflicted about this. I'm just like, I don't quite understand, because let's pull it up. Pull it up. Hold on. You believe it was tampered with dairy? I'm thinking so now too, right? I'm like, shoot, I could be eating grapes because I love grapes. But I know not to mess with the fermented portions of it. Let's see. Could it be that when we eat things not according to season could bring certain health issues? It could be. Feast of Weeks. One of the feast is grapes. Right. And Hannah, that's amazing. Hannah said it really works. The grapes healed my diabetes, right? Which is why I'm conflicted, right? I'm telling you, my understanding, Jamil, just bear with me, sis. My understanding is developing, right? So, hold on. Let me pull it up. It's Numbers chapter 6. Let me not put that in. Put in Bible Hub. I'm going to go right to it. Hold on. And the Lord is Numbers chapter 6. Listen. Hold on. Let me just read it. Y'all let me know. Y'all help me work through this. Because like for the last couple of weeks, I've really been conflicted about this, making sure I understand this right, make sure I wasn't reading it wrong. And the Lord said to Moses, speak to the Israelites and tell them that if a man or a woman makes a special vow, the vow of a Nazarite, to separate himself to the Lord, he is to abstain from wine and strong drink. He must not drink vinegar made from wine or strong drink, and he must not drink any grape juice or eat fresh grapes or raisins. All the days of his separation, he is not to eat anything that comes from the grapevine, not even the seeds or skins. So let me go back here. So right here, Feast of Wheat, Feast of Grapes, Feast of Olives. I'm missing one. Look. And so it was right here where I'm like, this is... So now I'm wondering if the vow... First of all, I'm wondering a lot of stuff. Is the vow... I can see how it can be good, right? Because if you separate yourself from a strong drink, that can be nothing but good for you, right? It can be those. Now I know in some places, and even they tell you now sometimes a little bit of wine is good for the belly because of sickness or whatever. But now I understand you don't necessarily have to take wine. It really can come from grapes and grape seeds. It's actually the resveratrol that is found in grapes that heals the ailments of the body, right? And it just happens that when you have wine made from the grapevine, you still find that component within the wine, right? Because it's made from the grapevine. But you can actually just eat it in its non-fermented state and get the best you can get the best results from it without the bad stuff happening to your body because it's fermented, right? So I'm just looking at all of that. Hold on. Brian said, yeah, I know, right? Me too now, even more so, Iman. She said, I take everything in the Bible nowadays as a grain of salt. I do too, but, because, and my vow is long, and I'm just like, I need to adjust this based on my understanding. I was like, have the false gods tampered with this vow? Like, I'm really like the last couple weeks, I'm just like, But I will say, because of my understanding at the time, the vow that I've taken, it's been nothing but good. The insight that I've gotten, it's been way more than I've gotten before I've actually taken a vow, right? But I think, here's what I understand. It's not even so much as the vow, like, oh, I'm taking this thing, it's so holy and sets me apart. I think it's really just the discipline that I enacted upon myself. I think that's the real root of the vow, like a dedication, willing to give up something to know the Creator a little bit better and to develop myself. That's what I think the root of all vows, whatever they are, is to enact a certain discipline upon yourself so you can grow, not just physically, but spiritually, So, hold on. Oh, good, Auntie. She said, the Lord said, which Lord? You're right. So that's why I'm like, okay, so the false gods, false lords is tampering with this particular vow. Hold on. I'm going to go back up. The God of Israel is not the Creator. It's absolutely true, Ima. That I do know. Brian said it's metaphysical. Tabitha said, true, Ima. We must have that sea salt close by. Taking everything with a grain of salt. Okay. Feast of Wood. I want to get more into the metaphysics, Jamia said. It's quite interesting, even though metaphysics is a trigger word for most church people just because of how it's taught and what people who haven't really grown in that area, they just like, it's all of the devil. Leave it alone. Stay away from it. You're going to find yourself demon-possessed somewhere in the corner. You don't quite understand. That's what I would say. I'm going to be nice today. That's why Vanette said, that's why we can't find grapes with seeds, because they have healing power in it. I absolutely agree with that. I do agree with that. They tampering with everything. But nevertheless, the grapes, even the ones that we have access to, every time I go on the food line, it's rare that it happens. But especially during the summer months, but I believe they come from the local farmers as well. Anytime I find grapes, no matter what color they are, if they have the seeds in them, I will get as many as I can. Like, I'll get all of them if ain't nobody else over there looking like they about to get grapes, because I don't want to seem like a heathen trying to hoard it all to myself. But I have a house full of people, and we all love grapes. So if they got 10, I won't take all 10, but I will take half. I'll take 5. But if there's other people in there and there's a lot of people in the produce section, I'll be conservative and I'll get 3, But then I come back the next day to see how many left over there. And if ain't nobody there, I'm going to grab at least 3 to 5 more. Like, seriously. And Jeremiah would juice a whole bag of grapes. Jamia said, make a Pam vow and write it out. That's good, Jamia. Because at this point, it seemed like that's what I'm going to have to do, right? And it's kind of like what I've been doing, even though everything from that vow I have been abstaining from, But it's been nothing but good. I was never, like I told y'all before, I'm never really the drinker anyway, right? I'm just like, I don't like the taste of it. Although there are some sweet wines or whatever that I like, and I could see that if I made it like a daily habit, it probably won't go over too well. So I'm just like, I'm just, that's not a big thing for me. But I really do love grapes. And now that I found out the healing power and how much they help the body, I'm like, well, why would that be included in this vow? And especially when someone fasts or does a consecrated feast, that just seems like something good that's going to help them. And it helps with like mental clarity, and the spiritual eyes and ears open, like when you feast on grapes. So now I'm thinking it was thrown in there on purpose to actually derail you from spiritual growth. I'm just looking at all these little pieces. Does the Holy Megillah get into the Nazarite vow? There is a section in there. There is a... Hold on, let me see. I mentioned before. Hold on. Where we at? And I got a meeting at 10 o'clock. Hold on. We ain't gonna go to 10. Hold on. I'm gonna tell y'all page. Wait, is this a new one? Hold on. It's my new one. I think this... What I do with the other one? Oh no, this is the 40-day water fast that this goes into right here. There is, I put fast, I noted that with fast, but that's the water fast that it's going into. Hold on, this is, let me get the other one. Yeah, this is I wrote it in here. This is the updated version. It has the extra 24 chapters and the new, it's like 200 pages more added to this. That's the updated one. Nazarite vow. There we go. Got my little tabs in here. Hold on. This doesn't go, and I haven't read all the way through this. This is if you have the original, the first printing of this, it's on page 70. The chapter is chapter 11, part 2 of the Mahaze Gedola, the messianic revelation of the Lamb and the dove, right? And from verse 14 all the way to, I would say, verse 24. Well, I would say go to the end. Yeah, I would say go to the end of the chapter. I got to be careful about this and reading it out loud because of, but here is something in here. In regards to this, because they talk about like the blood sacrifice and sprinkling the blood of animals, and that's something that I also noticed in the Nazarite vow. At the end of your vow, you're to cut your hair and then to offer it according to that. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, we're cutting that off because that's wrong. I know for certain that part has been tampered with towards the end of the vow, right? So I was like, yeah, there's some mixture there. I could clearly see that, but it's the great part that it was that I was having an issue with. But this right here, even this is opposed to animal sacrifice in any kind of way, even when it comes to the vow. Let me read you the footnote, right? Hold on. They call it the vow of initiation. The vow of the Christ child is the vow of initiation into the Nazarene, which is the Nazarene priesthood, which is the Nazarite vow, right? And I was able to clearly see that while I was reading through here. It said, for behold, the vow of the Christ child is the vow of initiation into the Nazarene, Nazarene, which is the Nazarene priesthood, right? Which is also, it's, I'm going to just read a little, just listen. Okay. Then I'm going to read the footnote. For behold, the vow of the Christ child is the vow of initiation into the Nazarene, which is the Nazarene priesthood. Yea, behold your new family, a family of priests and priestesses. Remember, it's men and women. That's one thing that I like about this. And the WASPy, it doesn't scrub the women, right? It doesn't make us seem obsolete. Yea, behold your new family, a family of priests and priestesses, which is the Nazarene priesthood of the Essene way of the Lord and Lady. In countless worlds, our priesthood has been called various names in the diverse tongues of people, but whatever the tongue, the meaning is the same. We are Nazarene because we lift up the distress unto holy resurrection and spiritual ascension. And we are Essene because we are the healers of the body, mind, and soul. And all Nazarene priests and priestesses of the Essene way are Nazarites, being consecrated to the work of the priesthood, which consecration is sealed by the Nazar. And Nazar, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I'm glad I read it because this is where the footnote is entered. Listen, hold on. All Nazarene priests and priestesses of the Essene way are Nazarites, being consecrated to the work of the priesthood, which consecration is sealed by the Nazar, the ritual consecration of the Nazarene priesthood. Listen, and the footnote 1 for Nazar says, in biblical Hebrew, the word Nazar, Nazah, is a verb that means to sprinkle, especially in the expiation of sins. That Judaic practice was referred to the sprinkling of the blood of sacrificed animals, but the Nazarenes used the word, or at least a word that was spelled the same way as a noun, the Nazar, to refer to the entire ritual of consecration to the Nazarene priesthood, or the Nazarites, right? Which included the sprinkling of hands, heart, and forehead with water and the washing of the feet. The ritual also included the placing of the hands of a priest or a priestess upon the crown of the head of the initiate and certain words of invocation, commission. The ritual also included placing the hands of a priest or a priestess upon the crown of the head of the initiate and certain words of invocation, commission, and prayers. Being opposed to animal sacrifice, right? Even this is completely against slaughtering anything, beast or man, not into worshiping creator, none of that. The priesthood did not kill, slaughter animals. Neither did we. We didn't do any of that stuff. We didn't make offerings of flesh to our creator. This is completely against that. Being opposed to animal sacrifice, the Nazarenes used water rather than blood, the water symbolizing the tears of compassion, which is the water of life. A trace of this ritual survived in the mainstream New Testament, wherein Jesus is said to have washed the feet of his apostles. And I'll go back up here and reread this little portion. Hold on. In countless worlds, our priesthood has been called various names in the diverse tongues of peoples, but whatever the tongue, the meaning is the same. We are Nazarene because we lift up the distress until holy resurrection and spiritual ascension. And we are Essene because we are the healers of body, mind, and soul. I'm so glad you mentioned this, Jamil, because it goes with our reading today, the Essene Gospel of Peace, right? This is spot on. We are Nazarene because we lift up the distress unto holy resurrection and spiritual ascension. And we are Essene because we are the healers of the body, mind, and soul. And all Nazarene priests and priestesses of the Essene way are Nazarites, being consecrated to the work of the priesthood, which consecration is sealed by the Nazar, the ritual of consecration to the Nazarene priesthood. That ritual is the washing of the feet and the sprinkling of the hands, heart, and forehead with holy water. Lo, the water symbolizes the tears of compassion, which is the water of life. Yea, and upon the crown of the head are placed the hands of a priest or a priestess of the Christ family, and certain words and prayers are spoken. And this goes, and don't let Christ family or Christ child throw you off. When this refers to Christ child, it's talking about someone who is fully in line with Creator. Spiritual eyes, ears, all of that is online, and you literally become a Christed one. Someone who has been enlightened. And we can see even through a WASB, all of those have been enlightened. They were considered types of Christ during their time, or even use the word saviors or whatever. It's somebody who's really in tune, and the vibrations of heaven literally flows through them. And that's what essentially all those who take the Nazarite vow, to my understanding, that's what they become. They become part of the Christ family, of those ones who become illuminated. And we are not just to, talk about ourselves or do these great things, but they are literally, another word for that is the healers, right? It's like it says here, we are a scene because we are healers of the body, mind, and soul. Like Yaki, right? He's a Christed one, right? He can talk about his spiritual experiences as he began to understand more about the body and bringing that in line with Creator and what he believes. And now he's doing the work of an Essene through fruits and vegetables, healing the body. He's a healer. He's a master herbalist, right? He's a Nazarite. Yea, upon the crown of the head are placed the hands of a priest or priestess of the Christ family, and certain words and prayers are spoken. And this ritual we shall perform this day upon you when we return your earthly body in Cush. Yea, Abiel, you shall receive the Nazar. Behold, the Nazar symbolizes outwardly what has already occurred inwardly. Right, so this is just amazing, right? What happens inside of us begins to manifest outside, and then others can see that we are truly Christed ones, right? Or those in line with the Creator, or however you want to term it, right? Call it Nazarite, whatever. Just like it said, in countless worlds, our priesthood has been called various names in diverse tongues of the people, but whatever the tongue, the meaning is the same, right? So this is on page 70 of the first one, not the updated version. I'm not sure if the pages is the same. If you got the new one, I'll check for you. Hold on. And this is actually found in the Nazarene book of Genesis. We read a fragment from that today. The 7 words of opening. I got to come back to this. Okay, so this actually. Okay, so they both the chapter 11 both of these begin on page 69. So it's in the same place on page 70. There is an adjustment. 70, because the footnote is on page 71. See, I got to go through it. I ain't even done going through the first one to compare it to the second one with the things that were added, the extra 200 pages. Get all of it if you can. Look, but if y'all can't afford to do it, I'm just saying, look, if you can't, let me not say it. Email me. Hold on. I done missed so much of what y'all said. We ain't even finished the teacher of righteousness. Let me go back up and see what y'all was talking about. Miss Amazing Wonders. Hey, girl. Hey, Naba. Okay. First time. I agree. Everybody's growth is different. If you feel the Creator has told you not to eat it, that's upon you, right? That's right. Elijah said, that's right. First time, the Creator's essence is deep within every individual that can connect back to true Creator and get downloaded. First time said, when you're saying tampering, what are you comparing that to? Your additional readings or your inner dimensions of self-knowledge? Just asking. It's a combination of both, right? Based on what I'm learning and feeling and understanding inwardly, and even something that I can and not necessarily anchor it to, because I try not to anchor anything in things that men write, but it gives me insight. But I try to constantly find my anchor in Creator, right? So a lot of times the things that I read, if it doesn't quite resonate deep down in my sha-na-na, I take it with a grain of salt, right? Because we all can understand truth and feel truth when it, I can't even say that. Depending on your growth level, some truths will resonate with you if you are at that level, right? Now, I'm not talking about shenanigans, but some things, just like children, right? They don't understand that, smaller children, that they shouldn't be climbing up on cabins. That truth hasn't yet resonated with them because they haven't grown enough to really understand the dynamics and all the things that could happen if they try to climb up on the counter without an adult being present. Even though that's truth, they can't recognize that truth yet. They can only see what they want to get up off the refrigerator, out that cabinet that's up in there, right? So that's why I say that it really depends on your level and understanding of truth, whether truth will resonate with you at that point. So I like that question, though. I like that question. That's all I rely upon. It has not led me astray. I agree, right? Elijah said, when you connect to the true Creator and get downloaded with more truth, the Creator told me you're only getting a little truth here and there in these books, which is okay, but focus on the Creator. I agree with that, right? We can find bits and pieces of truth in a lot of things that men pen, right? But as we grow and we can tap in personally to the Creator without having to need a teacher teach me this, and oh my gosh, I can't grow because I don't have the right teacher, right? Like Bruce Leroy. Think, Leroy, think. He out here searching for the master and his last sensei before he get to the level of the dragon. He was trying to teach Leroy at this one. You've grown to the level now that you don't really need outside teachers. The teacher that you are now looking for, some dumb goy, that teacher, that master will only be found on the inside of you. So that's what his last sensei was trying to teach him. And Bruce Leroy was like, I went down here. Why did you lie to me, master? Think, Leroy, think. You are the master, right? And that's the point we have to learn to go within, to truly connect with Creator. And Creator will never lead us astray. But he will use the resources and the people around us to get us to that level where we can now walk and talk one-on-one with one another without the interference or the co-signing, the bad game of telephone that we've been playing with everybody else, you know. Shayla, hey cousin. Focus on Creator. Hold on, my thing just jumped up. Hold on. Okay, focus on the Creator for truth, and you would get an abundance of truth. I agree with that. The book of Elijah said, the book of inspiration in the WASP, the Creator is ever present. The Creator, the ever present, is telling each individual to go within to connect to the real Creator. I agree, right? Me too, right? I want to be a Christ child, right? I believe I'm on my way to that. I get bits and pieces of downloads and stuff. And as we grow, we should be developing and becoming more spiritual. But if you're not constantly trying to anchor yourself in Creator, sometimes you might find yourself kind of taking steps away instead of taking steps toward, right? So we have to ever be mindful of that. And even those we talk to, we hang out with, their insight, their belief in Creator, all of that, it weighs in, it's like peer pressure. It all like adds to you, and you have to be aware of it, right? And like Iman said, just take everything with a grain of salt and run things through your own sha-na-na filter, right? If it ain't helping you to grow closer to Creator, where where you and Creator are in this conversation one-on-one, then, just put it to the side. Put it to the side, right? Only get things that's going to get you closer to Him. Who has the updated Holy Megillah? Y'all already know that, but I'm just answering your question. Me, I do. You can call in. I'm not sure how it is now. The website is not back up, and they said it was going to be a while before it gets back up, and it's going to be a different website. He kind of, I ain't gonna say retired, but he retired from all of the updates and the videos because he's still involved, from what I understand, but all of his time now is completely focused on actually translating the other scrolls so they can keep adding updates to this. So that's his whole thing that he's doing now. He's just completely focused on the translation of the Holy Scrolls so we can have it in English and be able to read it. And they're just going to every so often be releasing updates. And I'm not sure how much he's going to translate before they release an update, like if it's like 200 pages, if they're going to do it in increments of 200 pages every time. But that's what he's doing. He's working in the background because apparently the scrolls of what they have access to is pretty thick. So that's what he's doing, but they haven't shared when that website was coming back up. But if you want a copy of it, you can call the number and you can order it over the phone, or you can mail in the paper form. They still accept that, but I trust them. I just ordered it over the phone. I take your information, and you have it pretty quickly. Within 1 or 2 weeks, it'll be in a big box sitting on your front porch. All right. That's good, right? Going back to the children climbing on the counter and the truth that doesn't necessarily yet resonate down in their sha-na-na, right? It's dangerous for you, child. Don't climb on the counter. No, it's not. I'm getting a cookie off the top of the refrigerator. That truth hasn't resonated in their soul. And Dawn said, and they don't realize climbing the counter is dangerous until the fall. Then they learn from failure. And a lot of times that's how we learn, right? We learn from failure. We learn from pain. The most successful people have failed so much, right? Because we learn. You can't grow without failure. That is the teacher. That is how we learn. If we would sit and we observe and we take inventory of why we failed. How did we fail this time? And that's true in every aspect of life. You have to have both. Failure is the greatest teacher. Now, you don't have to personally fail on your own. You can observe other people's failures. And that's what I like to do sometimes. I like to look, and because I don't like pain. If I can learn from observation, something that I don't have to personally go through, I can just see the principles, pull them out, and I won't be the hard-headed child. Can you hand me the cookie off the refrigerator? I got to wait. Okay, I'll wait. I'll wait till after dinner. Right? That's just me. That's just how I live my life. Some people, they just... I know she said wait till after dinner, but come on, G. We can get this cookie. You try and push me up. If I slip, try and hold my leg. Next thing you know, they done fell off the counter and you done got hurt because they fell on top of you. Both of y'all. Right? Look, Dawn got hers in a week and a half, sweet. You have to call and leave a message. I just ordered and got my second copy. Yeah. If, like, sometimes they will, because I done called them quite a few times. And sometimes they will pick up. If you, listen, if you call the bookstore during bookstore hours, they will pick up the phone. But if not, leave a message. They are really good at calling you back. They really are. Because I've left a couple messages and they'll call back. And sometimes it's a couple days later. And when they were still answering the phone, they would personally call me back. But it'd be maybe like 3-4 days, because I ain't the only person in the world that's trying to call, When they get to it, they try to answer it as they come. All right. They still have scrolls that hasn't been translated. Yeah, they do. They do have scrolls that haven't been translated. But yeah. Definitely. What they said, you can't get both copies. I just had the first copy before the second copy came out. But the first book does include everything. The second book does include everything that the first book has. At least that's what they said. I haven't been able to go through all the way, line by line, to see you know, but it seems like it is. Like this one is 900 the pages. It's 965 pages. The new updated version is 1162 pages, right? And it's a lot of footnotes and stuff that have been added to the back in some sections where it left off at from the last book. They're just adding more on to that, you know. So I guess they're yeah, if yours is like 965 pages, you got the first release. The updated one is the one with the 1162 pages. Now also, when you call, if you want to make sure you get the updated version, because what they said is those who were a part of the mailing list and already had the first copy, that they were only releasing the updated copy to the members. Now, I'm not sure if you're a member or if you're on the mailing list. Ask to be added to the mailing list. Give them your email and ask them for the updated copy, the one with 1100. Let me get the exact page number. Write it down. The one with the 1100 and 1162 pages. 1162. Right? Okay. It may be the new year. Check your pages. If you got 900 pages, it's the first copy. If you got over 1100 pages, it's the updated version with the extra 24 chapters, which equals to 200 pages. All right. So, all right. Did I finish? Yeah, I finished reading that Nazarite Vow portion of it. Y'all, if y'all got to go to work, go ahead and get out of here. Yeah, I didn't read all the way to the end of the chapter, but I think that was a good portion to read about the Nazarite Vow. But at the end, I will read this part. At the end of it, let me read the end of this. This is good. Hold on. But I'm not going to read it like all the way through word for just little fragments of it. Just because of, I don't want to get in trouble. All right, but look. If you jump to page 73, right? If you jump to page 73, verse 53. Start at 53 and to the end of the chapter, which is like verse 62. Listen to this. Now you gotta go back and you gotta read it to get all of the details of the different terms and stuff. But listen. And it's verse 56 through 58 that I wanted to bring out, but let me read it in its context. Verse 53. Then the dove spoke, saying, Think not, O Abiel, that they who take the vow of the Christ child and thereby enter the Christ family, which is the Nazarene priesthood, become free of error. Lo, even amongst the higher ranks of Christ's beings in much higher worlds, errors are made. And clearly we can see that it talks about this even through a WASP, right? And we come to realize that there are false gods and the different things, and then even a God go to creator for help. Like, listen, they done gotten out of control. Well, I told you, first of all, when they die, don't let them go back to their family. Separate them by the space of 50 years. Listen. So I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. Then the dove spake, saying, Think not, O Abiel, that they who take the vow of the Christ child and thereby enter the Christ family, which is the Nazarene priesthood, become free of error. Lo, even amongst the higher ranks of Christed beings in much higher worlds, errors are made. And amongst baby Christ in the lower worlds, such as earth, errors are common. But the vow of the Christ child is, I shall make no errors. Lo, the vow is, I will try to help. Hold on, let me read that again. But the vow of the Christ child is not, I will make no errors. Lo, the vow is, I will try to help. And all those who truly desire to help will learn from their mistakes, and the mistakes will become less frequent, and they will rise from one world to the next until they pierce even the mother ovum. right? And so when you pierce the mother ovum, I understand that to be is when you graduate as a bride and a bridegroom and you are going into ethera. So from what I understand about what I've read and how I can align that with Owaspy, it's talking about the same thing. They're just using a different terms. It's talking about piercing the mother ovum, right? The mother ovum. This is a womb, right? First in our mother's womb, then the earth wombs, then we're born into the S world, but there's still 3 heavens that we have to graduate through. And when we graduate and truly get to experience everything else, we've pierced the mother ovum, or graduated as a bride and bridegroom out of the earth and the earth's heavens into ethera, right? Let me read that one more time. But the vow of the Christ child is not, I will make no errors. Lo, the vow is, I will try to help. And all those who truly desire to help will learn from their mistakes, and the mistakes will become less frequent, and they will rise from one world to the next until they pierce even the mother ovum. And I'll pause right there. I said I was going to read it to the end, but I just kind of want to be careful with reading this out loud based on the rules and regulations they set for this, right? So if you got it, read the rest of it. Matter of fact, just read the whole chapter. But it's all really, really good. Yeah. The Holy Megillah. All right. Posted in the Facebook group. Oh, you talking to Don? Okay. All right, y'all. Let me see. I think we'll just pause and we'll start tomorrow with this. Because we got through like the first paragraph. Well, the first and half of the second paragraph. We'll just start it over tomorrow. I'm going to pause because it's 7:47. I'm going to be mindful of y'all time. Those of y'all that got to get out here and go to work. Some of y'all already listening from work. So we're gonna go ahead and end it right here. Let's just start it over. What I do it live? Oh, okay. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. It is Wednesday, March the 1st, 2023, day 346 of year 4 of reading through books, laws, and prophets. We read chapters 9 and 10 in Romance of the Red Star, which was chapters 10 and 11 in Big Blue. And then we read pages, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong day up here. I'm sorry. Let me open this back up. Did I say 10 and 11? Let me do it over. 10 and 11. Let me write it down. 11 and 12 in Big Blue. Okay. In Romance of the Red Star, in the Cycle of Off, we read chapters 11 and 12. No, I'm sorry. I'm still saying that wrong. I wrote it. I still wrote it wrong. 10 and 11. Y'all, I'm gonna get it together. We read starting on page 69. We read chapters 10 and chapter 11. And Big Blue is chapter 11 and chapter 12. In the Sing Gospel of Peace, we started on page 105 with fragments that are identical with the Dead Sea Scrolls. And then that was it. That's all we read. That was page 105 to 110. And we started reading a little bit from the same book, The Teacher of Righteousness, but then we got into the Holy Megillah with the Nazarite Vow. If you're here, then you know, right? But we're going to reread this tomorrow. And that's it. That's it for today. Father, let's see. Not only do we thank you for the teeth, right, that adds shape to our face, but we also thank you for the ability to speak that gives shape to our faith. Yeah. All right, y'all. Remember, everything you speak, let your words be a blessing to others and not tools that destroy. All right? Love y'all. I see y'all. I see y'all tomorrow. Go hug a tree today. Give thanks to the Most High Creator for sustenance. Yes. Hug a tree. Go hug a tree. I'm going to go out here and hug Sally. A tree in my front yard named Sally. All right, y'all. I love y'all. See y'all back here tomorrow morning. Bright and early. 6:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bruce.